I'm out doing my morning walk this morning, and one of the things I wanted to discuss is that the situation, how we have conditioned men in this society to accept abuse, to be victims of abuse, and to accept torture, whether it be mentally with humiliation rituals, physically with assault, or financially with financial abuse. We see it with the child support system, the marriage laws, and everything else. And this is the society that has been created. And you guys want to see a view from where I'm at, where men are trained from birth to excuse poor behavior from women. And it's reinforced by an army of jellyback simp men. The laws, society, the court system, the legal system, the media, everything supports this type of activity that men are forced to deal with in this society. I mean, even men shame men disrespect men. And many times these men do it because they want a pat on the head. They want a virtue signal. They want to demonstrate that, it's masculine as a man to accept abuse. Or they'll step in there as a superhero, hoping to score points with women so that they can get access to pre-owned, so they can simp for the gynocracy or the gynocentric environment. It's gotten to a point now where even when women are guilty with evidence, they try to spin the situation. With the horrible people, they try to reverse it back and take the attention on it because it doesn't support the narrative of men as these monsters. And then try and rewrite the script. Excuse me. And make it a problem that men, or sweep it under the rug, or minimize it. And they'll come up with all these false stats, statistics, because most of the incidents that happen against men are not reported, you see? Because they've shamed men into being victims, silent victims that don't report incidents. So the domestic violence numbers are skewed. So it is a lot of situations going on in society where they've conditioned men to accept these humiliation rituals and to not fight back, to not defend himself. Because the moment he defends himself, he's going to be arrested, locked up, attacked, disrespected by other men, and probably even attacked by other men. Shamed. Other men trying to score points. Other men trying to simp for the gynocracy. Other men's, you see it even now with the jellybacks, how they've ruined society. Created a system of women with inflated egos, inflated sense of self-value, inflated sense of self-worth. A lot of dudes have created that in society. And that's not going to change anytime soon. Sometimes men themselves, write the scripts for their own torture because of the way they treat other men. And that is the failing that we see in society today. And that is one of the major problems that has to be corrected. Otherwise, there's never going to be any change. There's never going to be anything different, because dudes will give up everything, their self-respect, their dignity, their freedom, being treated like a human being just to gain access for pre-owned, to get the approval of society. Until that change, nothing is going to change. And the only thing you can change is yourself. But she's just another one. But you see these humiliation rituals all the time online. Guys are subjecting themselves to this just so they can say that they're in a relationship. They got somebody with them. They're not alone. And only a weak man is afraid to be alone. Only somebody that has low self-esteem is afraid to be alone. Only somebody who was raised to be an effeminate man has an issue with spending time alone. And that's the fundamental problem. It's not just a failure of society. It's a failure of manhood masculinity. And you superheroes, you only come to the rescue. You can see a woman beating the crap out of a man. You'll stand around and do nothing. They'll watch you. They'll watch a woman completely destroy a man and have nothing to say about the situation until that man fights back. You jellyback simps are the biggest problem with why we have this such an imbalance in the system. But you'll watch that man get his head bashed in, beaten in. You won't do anything. But the moment that man fights back, the moment he defends himself, you women are just as bad. You co-sign on this behavior because obviously feminism is about creating a narrative and superiority. You don't want equality. You want to be, you want to be superior to men. You want to be worshipped. You want to be exalted into the skies. You want superior rights. You don't want equal rights. You want superior rights. You want privilege in a society, but you demand equality. But there's no equality in the current system. It's just a complete, gynocentric gynocracy. And that's not going to change until men change that. It's not going to change until men change that. It's beautiful out here. So you can cross your fingers and whatever else. But until men change, nothing's going to change. But we'll continue to see these types of situations. They'll continue to be spin. Good morning, folks. And they'll continue to be turned around where these individuals will make themselves victims and men themselves. They will roll other men underneath the bus because all they're trying to do is gain approval, or probably if they simp hard enough or they virtue signal hard enough, or they pretend hard enough that it doesn't exist and the unfairness doesn't exist, that hopefully some woman someday will give them an opportunity to get access to pre-owned, or they'll get a pat in the head, the approval of the gynocracy, or an opportunity for some of the panda bears out there to make money. But at the end of the day, it still comes back to men, because women are not going to change. Why would anybody give away power? Why would anybody give away a situation that highly favors them to be fair and equal and balanced? They're not going to do it. Good morning, ladies. So we have an issue with the superheroes out here rolling other men underneath the bus. Until that changes, there'll be more situation like the Johnny Depp situation, like the track runner, and like this situation with the Bachelorette. Not going to change. The biggest issue for men today is the jellyback simp. We got a simp problem, and that's not going to be corrected. They're like termites, eating at the foundation of society, the simps. Make sure you guys hit the like button. We'll pick up some speed. I'm out on my walk. We'll talk soon.